Hello friends, welcome back to automationtestinginsider.com. So this is the ninth video of TestNG framework series, and today we are going to talk about listeners in TestNG. So let's get started. So what is listener? So as the name suggests, listeners listen to the event defined in the Selenium script and behave accordingly. So based on your test cases, like test results, let's say test case passed, when test case is passed, failed or skipped, it behaves accordingly. So listener is defined as interface that modifies the default TestNG's behavior. So basically listeners are nothing but interface, okay, that modifies the default TestNG's behavior. Okay. And what is the purpose of having listeners? So listeners are used in Selenium to generate logs or customize TestNG reports. So this is the basic, or I would say the main funda behind having listeners, to generate logs or having or customize the TestNG reports. Okay, so there are two types of listeners in automation, in Selenium automation. So we have WebDriver listeners. So whatever events that are triggered by WebDriver is taken care by WebDriver listeners, and we have TestNG listeners, event triggered by TestNG. Okay, so today we'll focus on TestNG listeners, and later on, once we are done with our TestNG framework series, and later on I'll explain WebDriver listeners. So today mainly we'll focus on TestNG listeners. So these are the different TestNG listeners are available, interface available. Okay, these are the different interfaces. So we have I annotation transformer. So we have already talked about I annotation transformer listener. We have used in the last video when we have implemented retry logic to run the failed test cases. Okay, and these are some different listeners: I annotation transformer 2, I configurable. Yeah, so these are the different listeners: I reporter, I suite listener, to this at suite level how to execute, and the most important is I test listener. So today we'll see demo of this I test listener. Okay, that is most important one. So how to implement listeners in your script? So there are two ways. One is at class level we can implement, and second one is suite level, that is nothing but in TestNG XML. Okay, so we'll see both methods, both ways. We'll implement listeners in our script. Okay, so my Eclipse is already opened here. So what I'll do, I'll create new Java project. Listener TestNG, and I have to configure build path at TestNG library. We have to configure Selenium Java jar files as well. Click on apply, apply and close. And here I'll create new package. Let's say com.listener TestNG listener. Click on finish, and simply here I'll create listener class. Click on finish, and since as I have discussed, like they are interface, right? So we'll use keyword implements, and we are going to implements this I test listener. So simply we have to write like I test listener here, and as soon as we implement this interface, it will give an error over here. So let's see what are those errors. Okay, so add unimplemented methods. Okay, so we have to simply implement all those. I mean, we have to just click on this one, add unimplemented methods in this class. Okay, so you can see these are the different methods are added in this class. Okay, so let's say this one on test start. Okay, so this is one method, and we have on test success. So when our test case is passed, based on that it will, we can configure our code here. Okay, so whenever we execute our test case, okay, when the test case starts, we can configure some code over here, or you can say some, you can configure some logs here. Similarly, we have on test success. When test case is passed, we can put some message over here. On test failure, so this is failure method, this is skipped. Okay, this is some on test failed but within success percentage, so this is another method. We have on start, so when our test case suite start or test starts, then we can configure some messages, logs here. Okay, on finish as well. So let's implement one by one all these methods. Okay, so let's say, and it has one parameter. Okay, so I test result, so this is the variable of this I test result. So according, I mean, using this one we can call some methods. Okay, so I'll show you. So simply we'll put some print statement. I'll put message like test, and result dot, we have different methods associated with itest result class. So let's use this get name. So we'll get the name of the test method. Okay, test method, test method, and give some space, and here what I'll do, starts. Okay, we can configure message or log like this. We can configure our logs like this. Okay, test method, it will get the name of the test method by using this get name method, and it will give beautiful method like test method. Let's say test case 1 starts like that, like that. Okay, so simply copy this one, we can paste it over here. This is for success, test case passed. Let's remove this one, and here we'll put this is for failure, so here we can give failed. Okay, we can configure logs or our customized message like this, test method failed. And yeah, let's remove this as well and configure skipped. This particular test case is skipped. What is this? Not required. This one on start, so this is while when our test starts, we can configure this message test, and here we'll give context, variable is context dot get name. So test context dot get name starts, particular test starts, simply copy and put it over here. Test context dot get name ends. Okay, so our listener class is ready. Now what I'll do, I'll create another class. So let's say I'll give name test class and click on finish. here I'll write some test cases. Okay, so let's write public void test case 1 and simply put statement. So here I'm not writing any Selenium script. Okay, so to understand better, I'm just giving one statement here. So let's not put any comment so that we can see, right? Because we have already given some, or simply what I'll do, yeah, here I'll put some assert statement. Assert dot assert true. Let's say this is true. So this is first test case. I'll use at the rate annotation. This is test case 1. Similarly, we have test case 2. Let's say test case 3 as well. And let's have one more test case 4. So we have 4 test cases. Let's say this is getting failed, sorry, false. Test case 3 is getting failed, the first and second is passed. Okay, based on this assert statement. So if you provide false here, then definitely it will fail. And let's skip this test case. So how to skip? We'll put one attribute here, depends on methods, and I'll put this method. So since this is getting failed, so this will definitely will be skipped. Okay, so this is how we can configure our test class. So guys, here I am not writing any Selenium script, so you can use accordingly, like launch browser. You can test particular according to your usage. Okay, so this is just for explanation. Okay, now this is ready. Now how to implement? So there are two ways, right? So first way is at class level. So how to implement this? So at class level, how to implement? We have at the rate listeners annotation, and simply what we'll do, we'll put inside a bracket, we'll put the listener class name like this, and dot class. Okay, so this is done. So everything is done. Now let me just run this test class. Okay, let's see what happens. So here you can see second test case 3 is failed, 1 and 2 is passed, and fourth one is skipped. Okay, so let's see console. This is because of TestNG failure, assertion failure. So here you can see test case 1 starts. So 1 second, I have to give space over here like this. Okay, let me rerun this test class. So guys, here you can see beautiful message, the logs which we have written in listener class, this listener class. Okay, so here you can see test default test starts. Why it is test starts in second? Test context, this will get the name of the this test. Okay, name of the test. Okay, so here you can see test method test case 1 starts, test case 1 passed. Sorry, we have to give space in each and every message, like passed, failed, skipped, starts, ends. Okay, now let me rerun this. Now here you can see, okay, so this default test, because we have not configured any test name, so that's why it is giving default test starts. Okay, so that is this method. I'll show you this one, on start. Okay, so this on start is for test method, sorry, test for test. Okay, and all others what we have configured is for test method. So test method test case 1 starts, test case 1 passed, test case 3 starts, test case 3 failed, test case 2 starts, test case 2 passed, test case 4 skipped. Okay, so this is beautiful logs. So we can easily will come to know that each case is passed, failed, and skipped. Okay, and at the end test default, test default test ends, default test is ends here. And what we'll do, what is the second method? So the problem with this method is, so let's say we have more test classes, more than one. Let's say you have around 20 or 30 test classes. Okay, so it would be difficult, or let's say 100 test classes, so it would be very difficult to implement this, this method everywhere, right? at the rate listeners annotation each and every class. So how to do that? Okay, so that's why we have second method, suite level. So what I'll do, let me create one more test class so that you can understand better. Test class 1 and click on finish. Simply from class test class I'll copy all these methods. One second, sorry, yeah, this class only, test case 1 2, and I'll put it over here. And let's say here we have test case 4. How many test cases are there? Sorry, 5. Test case 6. Let's say we have 2 test cases and test class 1. Okay, so here we have 2 test cases, test case 5 and test case 6, and this test class we have 4 test cases. Now what I'll do, I'll remove this listeners annotation from here at class level, and will implement suite level. So how to do that? Okay, so simply what we are going to do, you can select these 2 test classes, and we have convert to TestNG. It's better to have this listener class in separate package. Okay, currently I have added in the same package, so it's better. That is good approach when we have this listener class in separate package. So here I'm going to create, let's say, I'll give name test suite, and let's say smoke test. Okay, test suite smoke test. Let's see, smoke suite, smoke test. Okay, click on finish. So here testng.xml is created. So how to add listeners over here? and this is always recommended approach, guys. The second method is recommended approach. Okay, so here what I'll give inside suite, we have listeners tag, and inside that listener we have listeners, we have listener tag, and here we have to provide the class name of our listener class. Okay, so this is and we have to give the complete path, package name dot class name. So where is that dot, what is the class name? Listener class name, listener class. So simply I'll put it over here. So this XML is ready. I'll remove this thread count, that is not required. Now let me run this XML. Okay, so either you can run from here, or you can right click and you can run from here as well. So simply I'll run this XML file and we'll see the results. It is done. Now here you can see test smoke test starts and test smoke test ends, and these are the different logs. Test method test case 1 starts, 1 3 2 2 4 is skipped, 5 starts, 6. So 5 and 6 belongs to class, the second class, right? All these like 1 to 4 belongs to this test class. We have two test classes, right? Test class and test class 1. So 4 methods are available in this test class, and 2 methods are available in test class 1. And we have configured our listener listeners in TestNG XML. Okay, we have configured our listener class in TestNG XML. So that's why all got executed. So here you can see test case 5 6 also. So this is another view, this is another class, test class 1, and here you can see test class. So there are 4 methods, one is skipped, and here we have two methods, they are passed. So this is how you can implement listeners in your script. Yeah, so later on we'll discuss about WebDriver listeners as well, and probably I'll talk about iReporter as well, listener. And in the next video, guys, we'll talk about hard assertions and soft assertions. What is soft assertions and what is the difference between hard and soft assertions? We'll discuss in the next video. So thank you for watching, have a nice day, and if you're new to my channel, then please subscribe it. Thank you, bye bye.